me to abuse my position here at the podium, I think. Suffice it to say that, and I think I speak for everybody in the department who's known him, hugely consequential. That's true, too, of many of the rest of you in the room, his students. I think it's safe to say that David has had a huge impact on every student that he has encountered. Most of them a positive impact. Some more than others, of course. David has developed a reputation, a well-earned reputation over the last almost 3 decades, not only as an excellent teacher, but as a mentor. Somebody who goes the extra mile to help students, especially those toward the end of their time here and who are thinking of work in academia, but not just those, how he can help. What wisdom he can, that's a term I'll come back to a few times, what wisdom he can impart to them about the nature of the beast, which is academia, and how they might succeed and flourish in our world. And for those of you who had occasion to contribute to the Kudo board that we put up earlier in the year, and those of you who had the occasion to read some of the student comments, they truly are a testimony and a testament to the impact that David has had, not only in the classroom, but beyond the classroom, not only in terms of getting people to understand what we now call global political economy, but life and the world. I don't think, maybe I'm just getting very sentimental, David, but that's been my enduring impression. And it was certainly reinforced when I read all of the 85 contributions to the Kudo board. Very moving experience. Let me say a few more words about teaching, and then I'll move on to some broader themes. As I reread for the 3rd time all 85 comments, and as I've reflected back on the thoughts and impressions that students have shared with me about David over the years, almost all of which have been good, a couple of themes really emerge. And one of which, maybe the most important of which, is that David is clearly a respected teacher. And I don't use the words respect or teacher lightly. To me, they have they have connotations that go beyond what conventional wisdom would have. They're truly meaningful categories. As a teacher, David has been respected, I think, by both his students and his colleagues. David is known as a very demanding teacher, maybe even more so as a very tough grader. The joke going around is that our collective GPA is going to go up significantly in the department now that David is no longer acting as ballast and keeping us honest in that respect. But even more importantly than that reputation, as a tough grader and a demanding teacher, again, the care for his students, the care for their overall well-being, not just the life of the mind, but for them, again, to me has been palpable in my day-to-day interactions with him and our shared students, but also it comes across in the comments on the Kudo board as well. My sense is that David always sought to draw the most out of his students, hence the tough grading, hence the demanding readings, hence the probing questions and answers, or questions that were designed to elicit kind of deep engagement and deep learning. And about the most consequential aspects of human life, the kinds of course David taught. Well, one course that he taught for a long time, which in some ways sums it all up. Work, wealth, and well-being. All 3 incredibly consequential, 3 themes which popped up, I think, in all of his courses, but came together in the most crystallized way in that particular course. Kind of sums it up. It's not just about an education for work, but an education for well-being. A respected teacher and an honored teacher. Indeed, I would remind everybody that David earned of the college's teaching awards, just about a little over a decade ago, maybe even longer than that now. A small token, but a meaningful token of the respect not only of his students but of his colleagues. I think that that honor, I know that honor was well deserved, and I know that honor meant a great deal to David, and I know it meant a great deal to his faculty colleagues, that he was not awarded that, he earned that. He earned that the hard way. And David, respected, honored, and now a word I don't use very often, but beloved. Beloved of his students. I'm sure not all of them, because he was a tough grader. But beloved of his students, beloved by his faculty colleagues, both within and beyond the department. And beyond the department, so that's David's role as a teacher within the Department of Political Science. Of course, he wore other hats as well. I want to say a few words about David as a colleague, as a valued colleague. Respect, honor, beloved, and valued, deeply valued in the Department of Political Science. I cannot tell you how many times, again, some of us showed up on the Kudo board, but that just affirmed something which I had heard over and over in private conversations with various of my colleagues. Words like his warmth, his kindness, and his caring. David was, throughout my time, almost 25 years at the college, a leader in the Department of Political Science. Not a leader in the sense of, it's got a flag, he's out in front, everybody follow me. But somebody with a softer touch. I won't use the phrase lead from behind, because that has been emptied of meaning in recent years. But he did lead from behind. He was chair for a while, but even when not chair, he had a subtle, indirect way of always nudging the Department of Political Science in the right direction. And at those times, when life in the Department of Political Science was not as smooth as it might have been, some of you know what those moments look like, David was always a calming presence. And his colleagues always recognized that he was a calming presence at those moments, mercifully few and far between in our department. But we've had one or two moments. So a valued colleague and a leader. But another trope, is that the right word? Certainly theme that emerges is inspiring intellect. Anybody who's known David in any capacity has to be, I'm going to use the word amazed at the depth and breadth of his learning, the quality of his mind. Are you blushing yet, David? I can't tell. The glasses and the K95, I can't tell. Somebody who always modeled for me a kind of intellectual passion that I think should be part of the warmth and woof of our lives as scholars and teacher scholars here at Macalester. Just a serious intellectual. And I've always admired that in David, and from what I hear from his colleagues, I'm not the only one. Widely admired for his implacable pursuit of the life of the mind, which is what this place, at its best, ought to be about. The other theme that emerges is that David is not just a friend, again, I don't use this word lightly, but a wise friend. How many times have we, as his colleagues, bumped into him in a hallway somewhere at Macalester and just had the briefest of chats and come away thinking, yeah, yep, he gets it. It's provided me with some insight that I hadn't had before. And speaking with his colleagues, his professional colleagues, I hear that theme echoed as well in corridors at conference hotels, bumping into David and coming away thinking, wow, I learned something. Their word, on more than one occasion, to describe those encounters has been to comment on David's wisdom, and it's a wisdom which I will miss on a daily basis. I feel myself getting tearfully sentimental at this point. And for those of you who know me, that is not common. And so I think maybe having reminded you of those aspects of David's personality and those pleasant and positive consequences of the 27 years that he has been here, I will ask us all to recall that this is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end. But it is perhaps the end of the beginning of David's career. As I said at the outset, a lively intellectual project that is looking forward to many, many years yet of writing, thinking, and reading, and sharing his accumulated wisdom with those who are open to it. To sum up, I know you're waiting for me to get to the end. To sum up, I think I'm not overstating the case to say that David really has been the cornerstone of the Department of Political Science, certainly for the entire time I've been here. He's been an indispensable colleague. Indeed, and I think I can speak for all of my colleagues in the department, it's almost impossible to imagine the Macalester Political Science Department without David Blaney sitting there in his office, insert obligatory joke about the picture of Karl Marx over his shoulder in his office. But all good things must come to an end, and I'm afraid the hour is upon us. So let us all show our appreciation in the traditional fashion for 27 years of service, of teaching, of collegiality, of friendship,